ringer off in case my kids are looking for me. So, how are y'all? Awesome, awesome. Oh, thank you. I wore this for you. I wore this for you. Yes, I'm so excited to be here. And hello to everybody over in the arena. I'm sorry you're not with us, but you're with us on remote, okay? We're talking to you. Say hello to them, you guys. So, I came here today. Twirl? They're telling me to twirl. Isn't that cool? I came here today to talk to you about freedom. That's right. I want to talk to you about freedom from self-doubt. I want you to think about this for a minute. What is the thing that is holding you back? What is the biggest excuse that you use to stop yourself from doing the things that will make you happier, that will help you in your business? I want you to hold on to that excuse, because I'm going to free you from it today. That's right. We're going to free you from self-doubt. We're going to free you from fear. We're going to free you from the garbage that's in your head. I know that my good friend Eric Morey was here, and he told you everything that you need to know in order to grow your business. I'm going to tell you how you free yourself of the excuses that are stopping you. And in fact, we're going to talk about the secret that is going to literally change your life. And the secret that I'm talking about is that there's this gap, everybody. There's a gap that defines your life. And what is the gap that I'm talking about? It's the gap between what's happening to you and how you respond. It's a gap that I'm going to prove to you today is only 5 seconds long. And the gap is the gap between inspiration and all those moments where you know that you should step out of your comfort zone and fear stopping you. It's the gap between confidence and knowing what you should do and self-doubt stopping you. It's the gap between inspiration and excuses stopping you. And I'm going to prove to you that that gap is just 5 seconds. And that we live our whole life inside this gap. And that the secret to being better, the secret to achieving your goals, the secret to your dreams, it's just 5 simple seconds. Now, I know a lot of you know the 5-second rule. For those of you who don't, we're not talking about the one we grew up with where you drop food on the floor, right? You pick it up and blow the dog hair off and you're good to go. No, this is a mind trick that I invented that I'm going to tell you about that will literally change your life. It will change your business. And once you learn it, you won't forget it. And once you learn it, you're going to know the secret to this word. Courage. Now, when I used to hear the word courage, I would think about the big stuff. I would think about my heroes. I would think about life or death moments. But I want you to consider, for the sake of our conversation today, for the sake of your freedom, I want you to consider that courage is actually the little stuff. That courage, by definition, is the ability to do things that feel difficult, scary, uncertain, or new. And I'm telling you right now, in order to be free, you're going to have courage. In order to build the business that you deserve, you're going to need some courage. And I got to tell you something. In order to tell you the story of the 5-second rule, I got to take you all back 10 years. Back to a moment in my life when it took courage just to get out of bed and face the day. Now, 10 years ago, when the alarm went off, this is what I felt like doing to it. Anybody else ever feel that way? Now, for those of you that can spring out of bed like a jackrabbit, first of all, you're a weirdo, okay? Let's just get that straight. Secondly, if you don't have any trouble getting out of bed, I want you to use the alarm clock as a metaphor. Because we all have trouble doing something. And usually it's something small. Maybe you have trouble talking to your friends freely about this business. Maybe you have trouble getting to the gym. Maybe you have trouble lowering your tone of voice with your kids. Maybe you have trouble when it comes to the way that you talk to yourself in your head. We all got something. And I want you to think about the alarm clock in this story as a metaphor, a symbol for those moments that happen every single day to you, where you know what you should do. It's like an alarm, where that instinct comes up. That moment where you have a little bit of instinct, oh, I should talk to that person. That's the alarm I'm talking about. Well, every single morning for me 10 years ago, the alarm would go off, that's what would happen. And then that 5-second gap would open up that I was talking about, that gap that defines your life. And it was as if somebody had opened up a window in the middle of winter time, and cold air started to blow in. Where was the cold air blowing in? It was blowing in up here. That alarm went off, I knew I should get up, and all of a sudden that cold air starts blowing in, and I was overwhelmed, and I started thinking about all the reasons about not getting out of bed, and I started saying to myself, well, I don't feel like it. And let me tell you something, I had every reason in the world not to get up. 10 years ago, my husband's restaurant business, he had a couple pizza restaurants, they were going under. I had lost my job. There were liens on the house, we were facing bankruptcy, I was drinking way too much, Chris and I were fighting like cats and dogs, we were circling the drain of life, confidence going right down the drain with it, courage right down the drain with it, our entire life savings going down the drain with it. We were about to lose everything. Everything. That alarm would go off, you guys, and I knew I should get up. You know what you should do, especially if you listen to Eric Worre, for crying out loud. You know exactly what you should do. Knowing what to do, that's not enough. You gotta know how. How do you make yourself do it? How do you get out of bed when you don't feel like it? How do you walk up to somebody who's not a member, who's not part of this amazing organization? How do you do that when you're nervous about the reaction? You know what to do. How do you make yourself do it? That was my struggle every single morning. I literally always had an excuse not to get out of bed. Always. Always. So the alarm would go off, I'd start to think, I would think about all the reasons not to do it, and then my hand would be reaching for the snooze alarm. I mean, I hit that thing like 4 or 5 times. Why get out of bed? I don't have a job. Why get out of bed? It's not going to fix the problems. Why get out of bed? I don't feel like it. And you know, I don't think any of us do this. I don't think we do this. I don't think we wake up in the morning and go, oh, I have a great idea. Today's the day I'm screwing up my life. Yep, this Saturday, right here, today. I'm going to hit the snooze alarm 4 times, and then I'm going to wake up completely freaked out late, and I'm going to run to the kitchen and start to snap at my family, and I'm going to get the kids in the car, and I'm going to drive really fast to school, and I'm going to get the kids out of the car, and I'm going to drive off so fast that I'm going to forget the backpacks and lunch, and then I'm going to have road rage on the way to work, and then I'm going to get to work, and as soon as I walk into work, I'm going to snap at the first person I see. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to go to my desk, and instead of making the 15 phone calls I need to make, then I'm going to log onto Facebook, and I'm going to look at Facebook for a while. Then I'm going to go to a meeting, and I'm going to text like a crazy person and roll my eyes at these people I have to deal with. Then I'm going to go back to my desk, and instead of doing the phone calls, instead of sending emails for my business, I'm going to look at Facebook again. Then I'm going to go to another meeting, I'm going to text over the table, I'm going to roll my eyes, I'm going to get a phone call, I'm going to roll my eyes at these people, I'm going to look back at Facebook again. Then I'm going to get in my car, I'm going to drive home, I'm going to skip the gym, I'm going to walk in the door, I'm going to snap at my spouse, and then I'm going to drink a ton. It's going to be awesome. No, that's not what happens. What happens is something sneaky. What happens is something scary. And we're going to talk about it. Half the day, we are on autopilot. We're not even in control of what we're doing, and I'm going to prove it to you today. And when you're not paying attention, you start to make decisions. Do you know the experts say that we make 35,000 decisions a day? And when you're not paying attention, guess what's making the decision? Self-doubt, procrastination, overwhelm, anxiety. That is going to end today. I'm going to free you from that. Now, every single morning, I would struggle to get out of bed. And then the rest of the day just unraveled from there. And I gotta be honest with all of you. If I had discovered what I'm about to share with you, I know that I would have gotten divorced. I know that Chris and I would be bankrupt. I know that I would probably be an alcoholic. I don't know what I'd be doing for a living. But I'd probably be a very bitter person. Because have you ever noticed that when things aren't going so great, it's so tempting to do this, isn't it? It's your fault. This isn't fair. I don't deserve this. This shouldn't be happening. That you tend to point the finger and think that it's somebody else's fault or something's fault when your life isn't going or your business isn't going how you want it to go. But have you ever noticed how we're designed? That when you point the finger and you try to blame somebody else, there's actually 3 fingers pointing right back at you. I think God did that on purpose because I think God wants to remind you, each and every one of us, that the power is in you. Even when you don't feel like it, even when the self-doubt is raging, even when you tell yourself you're not worthy, even when you tell yourself you're unlovable, the power to change that is in you. Now, I didn't believe that at the time. I didn't know that at the time. I was sitting at home that night, and I knew I needed to change. I just couldn't make myself do it. And I was sitting there, and I was watching TV, and I was having one of those talks with myself. You ever had one of those talks where you're like, all right, that's it. That's it. Tomorrow morning, it's the new you. Tomorrow morning, you're going to change. Tomorrow morning, you're going to go to the gym. Tomorrow morning, you're going to call those people you've been avoiding about this business. Tomorrow morning, you're not going to drink. Tomorrow morning, you're going to be nice to your spouse. And then all of a sudden, I saw this rocket ship blasting across the television screen, and I had this idea. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the answer. That's the answer. That's the answer to the snooze alarm. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, Mel, you're going to rocket out of bed. You're going to launch so fast that your feet are going to hit the floor before self-doubt hits your brain. That's what you're going to do. Now look, it could have been the 4 Manhattans I had that gave me that idea because I was drinking an awful lot back then. And you're reaching for the things that don't work because your life's not working. Well, for whatever reason, everybody, I'll never forget it. It was a Tuesday in February, 2008. Anybody else have a lousy year in 2008? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the alarm went off. That's what happened. I knew I should get up, but that window opened up that I'm talking about. Didn't feel like getting up. I started saying, this is a dumb idea. Not even going to work. Why even bother? And all of a sudden, I did something I had never done before. I started counting backwards, just like NASA. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And all of a sudden, I couldn't believe it. I was standing up. I was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I went on with my day. So the next morning, the alarm goes off. That's what happened. I knew I should get up, but I didn't feel like it. That gap started to open up. I started to think about what I needed to do. All of a sudden, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm standing up again. The next morning, the alarm went off. That's what happened. That gap opened up. I started thinking about, did I want to get up? Nope. Started to come the excuses. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm up. Now, by the 3rd morning, I'm going to be honest, I was a little freaked out. I started to wonder, you know, were my grandparents, I know that they were farmers and they owned a bakery. Was there like a witch in there somewhere? Because is this like a spell? This is like a weird thing. And so I did this thing. I said to myself, okay, let's test this. Let's test this little 5-second thing. I get that it works to help you get out of bed. But could you use this little countdown thing in other situations? So I made myself a promise. I said, okay, Mel, if you're in a situation where you know what to do, but you just don't feel like it. You know what you should do, but you start to get scared. Let's count backwards and let's see what happens. So I walk into the kitchen, and you know how the thing happens with the people that you love, where you see them and then all of a sudden you just want to kill them? You know how that happens? Well, my husband, Chris, of 22 years, was sleeping on the couch at this point because we were fighting like cats and dogs, and there he was in the kitchen, and I saw him, it was just like, I just wanted to, because it was so much easier to blame him, right, for our financial problems. But here's the deal. I didn't want to get divorced. I loved him. I was just afraid. I didn't think that we could get out of the mess that we were in. I didn't know how we were going to fix this. And so I was literally living my life triggered by everything. I was out of control. My emotions were going crazy. So I go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And all of a sudden something magical happened in my marriage. For the first time, I literally had the ability to control my emotions and speak to him from a place of my values and from the outcome that I wanted, instead of being so triggered. I see it would help to get a job, 54321, and I'm picking up the phone. I see my sneakers, I know I need to exercise, but it's February, 54321, and I'm out the door, and I'll be darned if slowly but surely my entire life didn't change because I suddenly had a tool to change. Now, Chris took it into the restaurant business, 54321, and they're renegotiating leases, 54321, and they're reworking the P&L, 54321, and they're walking into meetings with investors, even though they feel like frauds, and they're terrified to have these conversations, and slowly but surely, they crawled their way out of it 5 seconds at a time. Now, here's the deal. I didn't intend to tell anybody. Because first of all, it sounds kind of stupid. Oh, you want to be free? Count to 5. Speech is over. I'm out, everybody. See you later. Secondly, I didn't know why it worked. I mean, think about it for a second. Why would something so simple work? Why would it help you sell? Why would it make you more confident? Why would it give you courage? I had no clue. Well, all that changed about 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, by this point, I had 54321, cold my way to a radio audition, 54321, the show gets amazing, 54321, I'm syndicated, I win awards, 54321, CNN is calling, 54321, my marriage is improving, 543, I mean, it's just like over and over and over. And somebody asked me if I would come and give a speech on career change. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time I had ever given a speech in my entire life. So if you want to know what it looks like to have a 21-minute long panic attack, I would invite you to watch this, okay? And we're about a minute in, and you can see that my chest is already quite flush and the neck rash is coming on, okay? Well, by minute 18, I have such an acute moment of anxiety. I forget how to end the speech. And so I stand on the stage and I go, oh, there's this thing I do. I call it the 5-second rule. The moment you have an instinct to do something, you gotta move within 5 seconds or else your brain's gonna kill the idea. That was it. I turn, I leave, I say to my husband, I'm never giving a talk again. That was absolutely horrendous. Somebody put this thing online. Do you realize it has 14 million views? That's not the crazy part. The crazy part is people started to write. And by people, I mean strangers. And by strangers, I mean 250,000 of them from 91 countries. And those are just the ones that have emailed. And what do you suppose they were writing about? Whoa, I heard about the 5-second rule, Mel, and I'm on pace to double my business, and I'm present with my kids. Wow, I started using the 5-second rule, and I've got the courage to reach out to people. Wow, Mel, I brought the 5-second rule back to USAA, and we're #1 in the region. Guess what? Her team's #1 in the country. Why? Well, let me tell you something. You're not selling anything if you're thinking about selling it. 54321 overrides your habit of overthinking it and teaches you how to just do it. Now, should you teach it to the other members of your team? Absolutely. Should you teach it to your children? Definitely, but I'm going to warn you, they will use it on you. So proceed with caution, okay? Be careful when you do this. You know, you're going to find that when you first learn it, you're going to start using it immediately because it's kind of obvious. It's a self-coaching tool. In those moments when normally you talk yourself out of doing the things you need to do, 54321, you're going to start to see that gap I'm talking about where you hold yourself out, where you're not free at all. You're a prisoner to your excuses. You're going to see that gap everywhere. And once you see it, you can push right through it. Now, one of the things that I'm really proud of is that people around the world are using the 5-second rule in combination with CBT therapy in order to manage addiction. One of the things that we hear from people all the time around the world is that when you think about sobriety as a 5-second decision that you make over and over all day long, it becomes much easier to manage. Now, one of the things that has humbled me beyond words, and I think particularly with the news of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade last week, this really hits home. As of last week, we know of 47 people who have not committed suicide because they have used the 5-second rule to stop themselves. Now, this gentleman right here, his name is Steve Montgomery. Steve is a veteran. He's one of our veterans. And like way too many of our veterans, he suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. And as he wrote to us and explained the story, he boarded the ferry with the intention of jumping over. Now, I don't know how amazing your life is right now or how low you feel. But what I do know is that the wisdom that is inside you, the power that's in you, that's guiding you, it never leaves you. It's a matter of whether or not you have the clarity to hear it and the courage to listen to it. So Steve is standing next to that railing, and that wisdom that's in you, that wisdom that will heal your family, that will grow your business, that will set you free. It speaks to Steve, and it says, hey buddy, this isn't the answer. Steve knows the 5-second rule, so he goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what I'm going to teach all of you is that as simple as it sounds, it's doing something powerful. When you count backwards, you're using metacognition. That's a fancy word for brain trick. You are overriding the excuses that get encoded right here as a closed loop. We're going to talk a lot about those, because that's what's keeping you. That's what's keeping you trapped. We go to work here, we will set you free. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 interrupts right here and draws your focus to your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that you're using when you act with courage, when you're selling, when you're learning new behavior, and when you're solving problems and working towards your goals. I had invented by mistake one of the most powerful brain tricks on the planet. Now he sees somebody in uniform as he walks away. Now that's what happened. And that gap opens up again because he starts thinking, oh my gosh, what are they going to think? And are they going to feel uncomfortable? And what, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now he's got the courage to ask for help. And they have an ambulance waiting when the ferry gets to shore. Now, if you wanted the license plate, it's gone in Arizona, okay? And I need to say a couple disclaimers about the 5-second rule. The 5-second rule is for those moments when your wisdom is kicking up and you know you should do something, but you start to talk yourself out of it. It's for speaking up. It's for pulling away from things that are destructive. It's for pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. It is not for signing a contract, okay? It is not for getting married. It is not for placing a gambling bet, for those of you in here that gamble. And it is not for getting a tattoo. And I need to say this because we keep getting these. So if you're inclined to want to get one, try henna first to make sure that you like it. Now, of the thousands that we have received, and we love receiving these, I love this one the most because this is your life. This is my life. Your life is an infinite loop of things that are happening and how you respond. And here's one of the most liberating things, talk about freedom, that ever happened to me. It's when I realized you can't control what happens, but you can always choose how you respond. Woo! And when you embrace that powerful idea that you can't control whether or not people are going to roll their eyes at you. You can't control whether or not people are going to say no. Dumbest thing in the world to say no to an opportunity like this, right? You can't control that, but you can choose how you respond. And when you realize that life can do what life is doing, and you are constantly in control of your thoughts and action, that is the definition of freedom.